Hi, I'm Dena Dubal, Professor of Neurology and Endowed Chair in Aging and Degenerative Disease from UCSF. We are very passionate about understanding the intersection between aging and neurodegenerative diseases, with aging being the major risk factor for diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Lewy body dementia, and more. And specifically, we would like to understand mechanisms of aging, which we have understood can be sped up or slowed down. And that finding a few decades ago spurred us and inspired us to ask whether slowing aging itself could be a treatment or a pathway to stave off neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease. What we've learned over the past couple of decades is that higher levels of Klotho will cause longevity in organisms across species, in worms and mice, and that disrupting Klotho causes accelerated aging. And that defines it as a longevity hormone. And very importantly, we have Klotho circulating in our blood and our CSF as humans, and there are very strong correlations between higher levels of Klotho and better health span, and in some cases, more lifespan. And our contribution to this field has been understanding the relevance of Klotho to the brain. What we found now over a decade ago was that Klotho induces brain resilience and it enhances cognition. So this longevity hormone that causes organisms to live longer has a potent influence and a positive influence on the brain. It stimulates NMDA receptors at the synapse to enhance cognition, to strengthen synaptic connections, and we have found that Klotho improves brain function in a young brain, in an aging brain, in a brain that models Alzheimer's toxicity and Parkinson's toxicity, as well as increasing cognition in an old monkey brain, in a brain very similar to our brain. And we hope that this breadth of studies, mechanistic and across organisms, may help us toward developing Klotho as a therapeutic. As Klotho moves toward humans, it will be important to take multiple shots on goal. Can Klotho be a preventative measure, boosting Klotho levels to prevent cognitive decline? Maybe the indication is Klotho deficiency and boosting up Klotho levels with a shot in the arm, maybe once a week or once a month. That's one way to go. The other may be treatment of cognitive deficits in diseases like Alzheimer's, in Parkinson's, and others. And at this point, we don't know, but there are many opportunities to try, and it is moving toward human clinical trials. So let's see. There is a real need, an urgent need for resilience therapies like Klotho. And Klotho, it's on its way. We anticipate in the next couple of years that it'll go into humans as a sub-Q injection. I think that the biggest challenge at the moment is we understand part of Klotho's mechanisms, but to really understand the A to Z of how it's acting, I think will be really important in conducting a clinical trial, to understand target engagement and to really think about potential toxicities. So, we continue our deep dive into mechanism, and I think this will be filling an important gap when it comes to clinical trials. In the next 10 years, I have faith that we will have a new treatment for resilience of the aging brain and for brains at risk for neurodegenerative diseases. And, what do I hope for in terms of our work? I hope that we have paved some path, direct or indirect, that leads to a resilience therapy. Maybe it's Klotho itself, Maybe it's a target of Klotho. Maybe it's something similar to Klotho. Maybe it's something dissimilar to Klotho. But this move toward helping brain cells stave off multiple toxicities is going to be very important in treatment of the aging brain and one that's at risk for degeneration.